Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of All About You. Today I'm here with Drudula.
Hi.
Thanks for coming back.
It's always a pleasure. Always.
This is our most talkative one of the bunch. She does come across a little shy, but don't be fooled. Anyways, today we're going to talk about, what's the topic?
Today we're going to talk about taking care of yourself.
Okay.
So
what does that mean?
I think that there's so many different angles in this topic, don't you think so?
There are.
So obviously we'll speak about the main ones, but I'm sure...
With a little twist.
Always with a little twist.
Because when we talk about how can we look after ourselves, we often focus on the appearance, on how do I look today? It very much depends on how you feel that day, right? So maybe you look after yourself every day in a certain way, but today you don't feel a certain way. So making an extra effort doesn't make a difference, whatever. So tell me something. I want to know about you. Growing up, were you taught to look after yourself?
Yeah.
Like, were you someone who was very,
girly?
Yeah, girly and no?
Nah, I wasn't girly at all. I mean, growing up, there wasn't much emphasis. I don't know if it's because of that time or if it's because of culture. I'm not sure. But growing
Probably
up...
because of that time.
And culture as well. Because, for example, going through puberty, I would say, that wasn't something that was taught really in our community. Okay. It was very much hush-hush. I mean, the basic things were taught, but not the main things. And then when you went to school and you realized that other people from different cultures, they knew everything. And you were like, oh, how come nobody told me?
And they look different, right? Oh, how come she looks different? And her hair and this and
everything's different. She wears, a little bit of nail varnish here and there. I think if I had nail varnish, it would go on my dollies, because for me it was like, oh, we don't do this. We don't go there. So growing up, I would say my parents didn't, or my mother, she didn't really teach me about looking after myself as such. I even remember the house being quite messy. There was quite a lot of children in the house. So we just got on with it every day.
Children, you can't keep a house too tidy while they're growing up. Yeah. So it's okay, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your parents were busy.
They were busy.
We understand.
Yeah, they were busy. I mean, I had an absent father. He was there sometimes. So it was mainly my mum.
So she was extra busy.
So she was busy working like 2 jobs or so.
The word busy is an understatement here.
Yeah, I definitely say it was.
Wow.
So it's something that I learned as I grew up. I think it's actually something that I learned when I came to the help center, to be totally honest.
I was going to say something similar. Wow. Let me say, in my case, I grew up in the countryside, proper countryside. My grandmother would say, oh, go and fetch some milk from the neighbors. So the milk would be really proper. Hold on, I'll go and milk the cow.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that countryside.
Okay.
I'll bring the whatever container very warm, because, the milk just came out. Very nice and frothy, by the way. No need for machines.
Oh, my gosh.
I know this is shocking. Nowadays, people don't even know where eggs come from. But yes, this is where I came from. I grew up... a large part of my childhood in the countryside. So it was very much go and play outside. I didn't grow up with a mother saying to me, oh, come in, let me do your hair and put a little cute bow on your hair and then everything matches. And then, no. We didn't put much emphasis on that. No. There were other priorities at the time. Like surviving and playing and all that, and dress in a way that you can feel really free to run around.
Exactly, get messy.
Yes.
If you end up with holes in your trousers, it was fine.
Yes.
So yeah, that was me as well.
Yeah.
I think.
So, and also I came from a large family. So yeah, so many of the things I know today, I learned with friends that attend the church with me from a young age. Because like you said, you notice things like, and most of my friends are Brazilian. Brazilian ladies out there. They love their beauty regimes.
Yeah.
Shall we say that? Hair and nails, they have to always be on point. So I used to look at my nails and go like, hold on a second. Oh, okay, I have nails as well. So let me
Invest in them.
So you know what I mean? So it was really funny. But I did learn a lot with people.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
But we're not here saying that you have to notice people around you and be like them. No. I copied certain things that I liked and thought that made sense. And that's it. So it's no problem. If you don't like to do your nails, it doesn't mean you don't take care of yourself.
No.
Right?
No.
But anyway, we have some street interviews. Let's see what people on the streets of London have to say about this.
Do you think it's important to take care of yourself?
Yes, I do.
Why is it?
Well, especially at my age, I'm almost a pensioner. I'm 66 in January, and I go to the gym. Well, I don't actually really go to the gym. I do exercises at home on a regular basis because I find it hard to motivate myself to go to the gym. I walk every day, take my vitamins. I had an aneurysm 12 years ago, so I try to avoid too much stress. And aneurysms run in my family. My mum died when I was 19 and she was 52 from a brain aneurysm, and I was lucky that mine was caught before it actually happened to me. So that's my reason for taking care of myself, particularly avoiding stress.
Yes, it is, because otherwise you become a burden to yourself or other people.
What do you do for yourself to take care of yourself?
I try and meditate and yoga and have a good time.
Having said that, I'm not very good about taking care of myself, but I know I should be taking more exercise and eating sensibly. I'm semi-vegetarian, so I think that helps.
I like to do some mindfulness, like meditation. Also look after my body, like workout, eat well, plenty of foods and veg and things like this. Change the hairstyle. Every little thing can definitely change our mood.
Do you think it's important to take care of your appearance as well?
Yes and no. I think it's based on how you feel. So some days you might feel really happy, I don't know, as a woman going out without your makeup on and scruffy and maybe forget how you look. And that can actually feel really positive. And other days you want to wear your lipstick and that can just make you feel really great.
I think it's really important for ourselves. If we're doing that for ourselves, it's important. I think you need to think from where those urges are coming from. If it's from outside, maybe you have to rethink and try to look deep down, because it can be really difficult also, so much pressure about being perfect. Nobody's perfect. But at the same time, I think it's good for us to look in the mirror and feel good and feel well. And that's not only from outside, it's inside as well. So that's why I was thinking mindfulness, like doing some meditation, workout, for me works extremely well, especially like I have some hormones imbalances at times. So I need to work out a lot. And yeah, look after myself, look in the mirror and look nice. Like change my hair. I'm actually going to change the hair now.
Well, it's absolutely interesting to note that most of those people that spoke in the interviews, they've worked out a way, their own interpretation
To take care
of themselves.
And very few people mentioned the physical aspect of taking care of yourself. So that's something interesting as well.
Yeah.
So a lady mentioned mindfulness. I perceive as well that most of them mentioned things to do with their well-being, their inner well-being, which is also very important,
Yes.
obviously. But with mindfulness, I don't know if this has become a bit of a trend, but we see this everywhere, on Instagram, on YouTube. Be present in the moment. This is all very good. For instance, you are taking care of yourself. If you are in a relationship, you are... it's a different type of taking care of yourself, but you are on your phone, but you're not really paying attention to the person who is there with you having tea or dinner with you. So yes, be mindful of what's happening there. However,
Consider the person.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, there's people who take this too far.
Yeah, I agree.
They dwell on this mindfulness too much, or how do I feel now? What am I feeling?
And then they end up over-processing their situation.
Yes.
And taking it to another level, which can become quite unhealthy.
Yeah, and toxic.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very toxic.
Yeah.
Because then you're analyzing every situation. You're overthinking, how should I be now? What should I say? What should I do? And to be honest with you, you probably end up becoming quite zombified because you're going to be like, where do I go? What do I
Yeah,
say? How do I
you're
do
not
it?
free, you're not happy.
No.
So we have to be careful with
There's a
that one.
balance. Balance
Yeah.
is key
Yeah.
in everything anyway.
So we've got a few points that we
Yes.
want to share that maybe will illustrate what we mean. So let's go to the first one, Judula.
Okay, exercising. It says here that you start feeling good about yourself. You can start with a daily walk or stretching.
Yes. So this is something that many people underestimate. And it's so interesting that, for example, every time I go to my checkups, I hear the same thing. Please exercise. Exercise is the answer to all your problems. That's what the doctor says.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but do I do it? Not really. So I think we need to pay more attention to this.
Definitely.
And then not act surprised when a problem comes along, because I was actually watching a documentary the other day about longevity. What are the secrets? Not because I want to live long, but have a good.
We can look after ourselves. We should, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So it's how healthy you are and active, not how many years of age you have. But there were a few things in common from different continents.
Okay.
And they mentioned exercise throughout. So exercise keeps you happy, keeps your hormones going. It's really, really wonderful. It's like circulation is going.
Yeah.
And
strengthening your muscles. Everything.
You are less forgetful. Yeah. So I think
overall, exercise is key.
We're talking about exercise, but please bear with us. Don't be like, oh yeah, I've heard this one. Yeah, I know about. Let's actually do it, because it makes a difference.
Finding what works for you as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we say exercise and people think, oh, I have to join the gym, I have to do this and I have to do that, and I have to go and buy these clothes and buy that clothes. Just do it the way that works for you. So if that's a 20
It just reminded me of something. Listen, do you know what happened? This was like a few years ago. My husband started doing some jogging for health reasins, he found something he enjoyed. So I went to my GP for something, I can't remember what it was. And I asked the GP, because they always say, make sure, the disclaimers, make sure you check with your doctors before. Yes. So I said, also, before we go, can I ask you, is it okay if I start jogging? Is there any preparation? Is there anything? Do you know what the doctor said? He didn't even look me in the eyes. He kept writing things on and said, just put on your trainers and go. I was so embarrassed. Yeah.
That's how we are.
Just put on your trainers and go.
Oh my gosh, that's it.
Okay? All right. So the second point, it says eating healthily. Now this is a big one. Okay. I think that society these days, we have all the knowledge. I know that many people out there, they really eat healthily and everything. But there's many people that they know what they need to do, but they don't do it. No. So their body is reflecting what they are putting in.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know what you think about this. We also hear people say, oh, I can't afford healthy eating.
Yeah, that's
nonsense. Not true.
That's absolute nonsense. Sorry.
That's not true.
I was in this category. I can actually talk about it because I was suffering with inflammation issues in my joints. And it was so painful. So obviously I had to go to the GP. And then he said, oh, it's inflammation. I was like, okay, but what's inflammation and where did it come from? Why has it started? He was quite unhelpful, to be honest. So I had to go and do some of my own research.
Really?
And I know sometimes...
we are not here criticizing
anybody. And I know it's not always good to check out Google, but in this instance,
no, my doctor Googled my condition once.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right in front of me. And I was like, okay,
I'm in good hands. Myself.
So, and then what happened? So you Googled,
so I Googled
the inflammation thing.
What kicks it off, or what starts inflammation? And then it started speaking about food. And I was like, food? Please, I'm fine. I eat well. Knowing that I don't really. So it said you can't eat rice, you can't eat all these things that I like. I think it's the white rice,
It's the sugar.
The sugar.
The carbs that turn into sugar
right.
thing. Yeah.
So it was that whole thing. So I literally abandoned it all because I was in such pain.
Okay.
And the changes were amazing.
Okay.
And I didn't spend much. I think it was the same
thing. So actually,
you
spent less.
Exactly, because I bought less. So yeah, that's not true. Get that thought process out of your mind that it's
Okay.
expensive to eat healthy, because it's not true.
This
So,
is
but
important,
it's important, yeah.
because we do have many people who put themselves down. Oh, I don't have the means. You know, I'm not like those people who can afford these quinoa salads. You don't need quinoa.
No.
We don't need quinoa. Let's all say it together.
We don't need it. No, I don't
We need
it.
fruits and vegetables and drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
So what's the third point?
The third one is good hygiene.
Oh, this is a good one, yes.
It is. I think this one could go on for hours. But it says your body is your home.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to stay in a fresh and clean house?
Yes.
Hygiene.
I mean, the thing of hygiene, it's more than what it sounds. When you go home, for example, you get up in the morning and you do your hair, you brush your teeth, you put some makeup on if you like it or not, whatever. You feel so much different from as if you didn't do anything. And you leave your house to go to work. It's different. You feel more confident. You feel lighter. I don't know. There's something about self-care.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
You feel confident.
Same thing with the house. I don't know if this has happened to you, probably all of us. But you know, when you are feeling lazy to do your bed, put all the dishes in the sink, at least for later, but at least everything is cleared. The counters are, I mean, when you make that effort, when you come back from work, you feel so
relieved.
good because the house is so tidy. So it's a way of taking care of yourself.
It is,
isn't it?
It's also self-love. Because we could look at it and say, oh, but it's putting on makeup. But the fact that you feel better, the fact that you feel good, relieved, you come home, you don't have so much work to do, is showing love for yourself. You're helping yourself. You're making yourself feel better about the situation you're in. It's better than coming home and then being like, I've got so much to do. And then you sit in the chair and you're like, and then you don't do anything. So
this is important. Like you said, we could go on and on and on about this. You know, I believe that discipline is a very important part of self-care. I remember that growing up, I would, complain when my mother would say, Elena, help me clean the stairs. Help me take the rubbish out. And I would always argue like, I don't want to go. Why me? Why don't you ask the other one? I mean, now that I'm an adult and I have to do these things for myself, I know how good you feel like you've accomplished something. Do you understand? It's like, oh, I did the dishes. I took the bin out. My life is on track. Everything is in order. Do you understand? This makes me feel good on the inside as well. So,
it sounds silly or minor, but it is really important.
It is.
It is important.
So there's even a Bible verse I want to share with you that has a lot to do with the third point. I'm going to read it to you. It says, it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, 19 and 20. Verse 19 and verse 20. It says, or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have from God, and you are not your own? For you were bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. Look at that. God gave what you have. God gave me this body. I should be grateful. I should look after it the best I can. Not obsess over it.
No.
Not do things that are not necessary, but take care of it so that it's functional, so that it's healthy. And this includes mental health as well. So we've mentioned a few things, like the street interviews, mindfulness and all that. I mean, there are things we need to do for ourselves that nobody else will do. So let's pay attention to this verse, okay? So there's the fourth step number 4, the tip number 4. Sleeping well. I like this one. A good sleep goes a long way to help you stay focused throughout the day. Listen, as I am here filming this program, I have to confess to you, I feel extremely sleepy. But there is a reason why. I have a cat, and today at 6 a.m., it just loves to jump on my face, on my head, and sit right here and wake me up.
Oh, wow.
And it's playtime. And I tell you something, I feel it when I don't sleep well. I'm actually struggling for words. You can notice.
I think, yeah.
Do you understand? So I think
it's a struggle.
Yeah, so sleeping well is one of the main things that you can do as a self-care. But I notice, I don't know if you notice this, you have a son, so I don't know if you've noticed, but especially younger people, they like to stay on their phones
Yeah, I was
until
actually
late.
going to say that. I was going to say that.
So you know, right? Sometimes we also do it, but I've adopted a drastic measure, if I can say that, drastic. My phone at night is no longer on my bedside table. It's far away where I can't see it on my desk. Why? First of all, my alarm clock will go off, and guess what? I have to get up to turn it off, but I'll be up already. But because I won't feel tempted to be browsing lots of things that are not necessary.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. No.
Are you an early bird?
I'm not an early bird.
Are you a morning
I wish I
person?
was, and I'm not a morning person either. So, yeah. But if I have to get up early, I'll get up early. But I do love my bed. I can't lie. So, sleeping is really, I think it's like one of the best because it helps you to function.
Yes.
But the world that we
I think
live
it
in today,
resets everything in your brain, in your body.
It does. But we have to allow ourselves to do that. It's not just about sleeping, it's about sleeping well. And if you go to bed with with your mind packed with all that you've got to do tomorrow and the phone, and let me check this website, or let me check the price of this, or let me see, which is a habit that we've got into today. Or let me just finish this series. Like, there's just no discipline anymore. And because of that, people are harming themselves.
Yes.
So it's self-care, as you said, but we have to be disciplined to ensure it happens.
You just touched on something that I think is a big issue nowadays, is that people can't sleep because they suffer from insomnia. There's something on their mind, something, a worry, a fear, or you just can't sleep. So here I am again, telling you about God. What can God do for you? He can do everything. How many people come to our church? So many people who suffered with insomnia, anxiety, all these things, suicidal thoughts. And after prayer, after advice, after hearing the word of God, they now have peace. They have inner peace. So I'm here with Drudula, inviting you to call our helpline. We also have our WhatsApp line if you prefer to write. And you can seek help. You can request a prayer over the phone. You can request an appointment, or you can just walk in. Our church is open every day. All right. So I think this was important to mention.
Definitely.
And there's
The fifth one.
Another point that is quite similar.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
prayer, as you just mentioned. It's one of the best ways to deal with an internal issue. It brings you closer to God.
Yeah.
As your interior starts to change, it will also reflect on your outside. So
I
pray.
agree. You know, I noticed that some people, they like to keep a diary because it makes them feel more in control. They feel less anxious, less worried. They can sleep better. But wouldn't keeping a diary be similar to prayer?
Yeah.
You are writing something to someone, in that case to yourself, or to a book called Diary. Dear Diary, how about changing, Dear God? Maybe you've never had an experience with God. Like we always mention here, Drudula, not everyone who is watching us is a Christian.
Yeah.
And we understand that. But do this test. Say like this, Dear God, I heard these people on the program saying this and that prayer works. If you are real, if this is real, show me, give me peace. And then you say what you're going through. Then you tell him, you close the door of your bedroom and with nobody there, and you just pray. Prayer is a conversation. It's like what we're doing here. Drudula, this and that. This is how I feel. This is what I went through yesterday. And then I felt this and I felt that. I don't know how to cope with this. I don't know how to. So this is a prayer. But the secret to prayer is who you direct the prayer to. So I want to challenge you to try this, okay? And the last one is talking to someone.
Yeah.
Did you know that opening up about your situation and speaking to the right person is a healthy way of looking after yourself? Try this tip and see how it will help you.
Yeah.
Now, still on the longevity subject, I was watching, I like to watch these things, documentaries and all that. And another tip from those people is that they have a very strong sense of community, family. So they talk to each other. They talk to one another about what they're going through, their struggles. I feel and I see that people these days are very isolated, even though population has grown so much. It's like people are more lonely than ever before.
Yeah.
So I think this is very applicable. Talking to someone, right? I mean, your son comes to you and talks to you.
Yeah.
I mean, how does he feel
helps.
afterwards?
It helps. Like, so as you said, nowadays we tend to feel quite alone. So what is causing a person to feel alone? When they sit there and they bottle everything up. So whatever it is that they're going through, they keep it to themselves. Now, if you just find the right person, as it says, because you can't go and speak to someone that can't help you or is going to advise you incorrectly. So go and find the right person and just honestly pour out what you're feeling. You're going to feel so relieved and so much better. So
you're looking after your mental health.
Yes.
And apparently it helps with your blood pressure. Because when you keep things in, it just eats you up inside, almost literally.
Yeah.
So learn to voice how you feel through the right, in the right ways, through prayer, through advice. Like I said, our church is open every single day, or you can call 24 hours a day, anytime. There will be a pastor who is actually able to help. Okay? Now we're going to watch, Drudula, a real life story that I think illustrates this very well. We will be back shortly after this. Stay with us.
My life before I came to the church was really bad. I had a lot of wounds, and one of the wounds were that I was abused when I was 8 years old. So I was abused by my stepfather, who was married to my mother at the time. I went to live with my grandmother because my mother and my father, they never really had the opportunity to really take care of me. After I went to live with my grandmother, I went to live with my mom because my mom kind of wanted me back. Then that was when the abuse started to happen. So I moved back to my mother's house when I was 8 years old. And he used to say to me that if I go to say anything, I will be the reason why that the family is broken up. And those were the wounds that I had. The lowest moment in my life was when I started to feel really low about myself. I also started to gain a lot of weight. Nobody in my family really knew what was going on because, like I said, he used to threaten me to say that I shouldn't say anything. So I also started to develop feelings for women. I never had any boyfriends. My family, they didn't know that I lived this kind of lifestyle. It brought a lot of feelings. It made me feel really confused, and that was one of the lowest time in my life. What was causing me pain at the time was that I wasn't able to open up. I became very private about my life. I became very sad, depressed as well. And I also didn't really have a lot of people around me at the time. Before I came to the church, there were things that I tried to solve the problem, which was to commit suicide. There were many times I tried to jump in front of buses. There were many times that I tried to take medication. I just didn't know what to do. So that was the best thing that I felt like I needed to do at the time. The relationships that I had, let's say, with family members that were around me, those were deteriorating. I just was not happy. I became increasingly depressed. When I came to the church, there was things that I was hearing about forgiveness is not for the other person per se, but it's mainly for myself, because the other person is literally maybe happy about their life, they're going about their day. But for me, I would still be, in those feelings, still with those wounds. It took me quite some time to actually practice forgiveness. It took about 3 months for me to be able to put things into practice. After I started applying what I learned in the church, I started seeing different changes within my mentality. I started kind of like testing myself. I really wanted to see the fruit of being able to forgive someone, to forgive the person that had harmed me. I realized that my wound became scars when I called my stepfather. I called my mom, but I called him as well. I was speaking to him on the phone. I had no feelings. There were no grudges. I was healed from these wounds that had happened to me. Today, my life is completely different. There's peace, there's joy. I no longer feel oppressed. I no longer have low self-esteem. I am married. I have a daughter. That's where the change has happened as well. I'm happy in my marriage. Also, another area of my life that has drastically improved is also my career. Before, I didn't have much prospects in life because of the things that I was going through. But today I have a career that I love. Because my wound became a scar, I'm actually able to now live a better life. Also able to give my daughter a better version of me, my husband a better version of me. Today, I see myself as someone who is confident, somebody who is bold, somebody who is brave. Before, I lacked so much confidence. I couldn't speak to anyone, and I'm able to speak now, much more open to my husband, open to like creating a better relationship with my daughter. And that is how my wound became a scar.
Well, this was a very powerful real life story. There you go. This is not a Hollywood production. This is actually a real life story. Yeah. Okay, someone just like you and I overcoming their problems. All right, seeing the power of God in their life. Now we can quickly read the comments that people left on social media this week.
Yes,
do you want to begin?
Got some here. So the first comment is, yes, it's very important to take care of yourself, because if you know how to take care of yourself, you're able to take care of others.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Which is good. And then it says, this has helped me to have a healthy routine. And I would say it has contributed to me being a woman of my word. I make sure I get enough rest and have my time with God, which is key for taking care of myself. I exercise once in a while and eat healthily.
I like her suggestion. Again, going back to the longevity, I had no idea this would be so helpful for today's recording. Another thing they mentioned was belief. You know, when the person has faith, it really helps them in life, you know. So there you go, having time to have a relationship with God. I have 2 comments as well. One says, yes, it's important to take care of myself. And of the things I do take care of myself is keeping away from bad energy in order to take care of my peace. Okay. Yeah. So staying away from toxic situations, like they say.
Negative people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Me too.
There's another one that says, eating right and doing exercise, distancing myself from things, people that are trying to steal my peace. Well, we have someone else mentioning that. Well, these are some of the ways I take care of myself. Very good. So these were some opinions on Instagram. Remember to subscribe, to follow, to like, to share. Be sociable, okay? In that way, please. And if you have any questions, please drop us a message. Now, today's episode, Radula, was based on the book View Woman from chapter 13. So there you have it.
Yeah.
You can find it online, you can Google. There's many ways you can purchase this book by Cristiane Cardoso. Very, very helpful. And it's written in a way that, honestly, from someone who doesn't enjoy reading very much, I like reading her books because they are very well
structured.
Structured. And the English is really good. And I mean, it's not boring. Let's say it that way, okay?
So I do have an experience about this book actually.
Okay.
When it came out, I didn't want to read it because I thought when I read this book, because it's based on Proverbs 31,
Yes.
I'm going to see so many characteristics that I don't currently have.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't want to face the fact that I don't have this and I need to change. So we were given a challenge. We were challenged to read it. And that was the only reason why I really picked it up and thought to myself.
Was it in the church?
Yes.
We had like the women's group thing.
Yes, we did.
Oh.
So I said, okay, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to be faced with all the things that I'm not good at yet and things that I need to change. And this is important because if something is going to cause you to be better, don't be afraid of facing it. I feel, be comfortable with the fact that you've understood, you've realized that you're not who you thought you were. That's okay. It's fine. Where do I need to change? What do I need to implement? Instead of backing away from it, face it and implement it because it's going to make you better. Okay. And as we said earlier, self-love. And that's exactly what happened.
And it brought you a lot more confidence.
Exactly.
But thank you for sharing that because not many people will say that, because we do feel sometimes like, I'm going to see things that are ugly about myself. So should I read? Yes, let's read the book. Let's, like many people like to say these days, I want to get to know myself. I'm on to a self-discovery journey. Well, start with the View Woman book.
Definitely.
And it will give you very important pointers on how to be more successful as a woman and as a mother and as a sister.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that and for coming.
Pleasure.
Well, we'll be back next week again. Who knows, with Dredula or not, we'll see. Leave us your comments and join us again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you in need of a faith incentive or daily words of motivation for your life? Liberty Radio is here to support and help you every day. The radio provides a variety of relevant programs to your liking that will strengthen and help you increasingly to get the best out of your life. Download the Liberty Radio app now from your phone app store. Connect to us and start to thrive in your life. Liberty Radio, the radio that sets you free.